But for now, we'll probably end up going between depths and vaults. And generally, we like vaults a bit more for being able to keep things a bit more modular. You know, all the rooms separating fights a bit more, dampening noise, makes it a bit easier. Depths is probably just slightly too early, so let's try out vaults. We can always run away if necessary. Killing one vault warden shouldn't be too far outside of the realm possibilities here. So, let's give it a shot, shall we? In fact, I'm gonna just play it safe here. Open up all these doors one at a time, and then we can start moving out from here. Probably strong enough for a Vaults 1, I sure hope so. Here we are. The slime rune they never expected at this stage. We could give it a shot. We are so close to ignition. And besides, when has going into an area slightly before we're comfortable doing so ever gone poorly for us? Definitely not for any deep elves. And especially not a deep elf that was all the way to Zot, you know? 3 runes deep and good to go, set for life. That does not sound like a very likely scenario to have ever occurred for anyone, really, so here's what it is. Slime has only 1 unique, but it doesn't, right? Because Royal Jelly, I think, counts as a unique, and then Dissolution, who we ran into the last time we were there, is their own can of worms, to say the least. I mean, this time around, we at least have a source of corrosion resistance, so that's honestly better than the last time we found ourselves delving into slime. But I think we'll give it a moment regardless, just in case. What, 23% chance when we're in statue form? Oh gosh, there it is. And that's a lot of unexplored floor. You know what? You just keep gaining ground towards us while we slowly but surely make our way back here real quick. Don't mind me, excuse me, pardon me. Would I rather have the speed or the protection? Probably protection, especially once this son of a gun pops out. Oh my gosh, now is not the time to fail statue form. Celebrimbor, focus, you son of a gun. Sure. Let's bring a little bit of the crowd. Ooh, Vault Warden. You didn't know about Dissolution? What's that? Oh yeah, they were a high priest of someone or another, and then they got like corrupted by Jivia or something like that, but trust me, just be glad that you've never run into them. I mean, it's one of those things where because you generally are just diving through slime, it's so rare to run into the slime uniques unless, you know, it's a tournament and you're actively searching them out. But I counted myself in that lucky group of people for the longest time. I think it was only like a few months ago that I saw Dissolution for the first time, and honestly I regret every moment of it, so count yourself as one of the lucky ones that you haven't had to deal with them whatsoever. Let's throw down some poison here, and then, you know what, after getting everyone confused, light it all on fire. Who said we need to train invocations or evocations at all? Turns out you can instead just subjugate or change the effect on our own here. Fantastic. Now, if everyone could just burn in a fiery blaze there, that would be lovely. Especially, ooh, we're already taking more damage than I would have liked. So much range going on here, hey? How about that? We could go for Manifold Assault to try and kill this buddy and take out the Warlord. Probably kind of just have to commit. At least you're blocking the Yaktars from shooting in, so that's something. And then we just have to kill this Vault Warden, and we should be good to go. Fantastic. Now we can just do a little bit of dancing here. And I mean, we're getting nice experience, we're getting good gold if we manage to actually pick all this up and don't get completely chased out of the area. So we'll have to see how it goes here. I think I'd like to Mephitic Cloud once more there and light it on fire. Best solution for any of your problems in life, just burn it all down. And we're marked again, but I guess that's to be expected. Hello, Mark. Again, this is why we don't bring you to parties. It's just a bit too much attention, you know? Mark's always looking for that attention. That's why we call it getting marked. Little known fact. Little bit of trivia for all of y'all out there. Okie dokie. Well, it's going at least. It sure is something. This run. But at the end of the day, I can't be too upset. We're playing it as carefully as we possibly can, because I'm gonna try not to fall into the hubris of, oh, it would save so much time if I just went straight for the win. When, if we're being honest with ourselves, that just means another, what, 6 to 8 hours in a new run? Not exactly the most efficient time-saving method you ain't ever did see. Can I kill you with just a few fireballs before you convoke? No. The answer is no. I cannot kill you before you convoke. Ooh, and we have a war gargoyle. Metal splinters. How about that? Let's pop around the corner here. Could be you've seen Dissolution but didn't pay attention as you're usually a Jivia worshiper in slime. That's fair enough. Yeah. Just another faceless friend for you to find along the way. Well, I guess we could try for something like this. It's just gonna get destroyed right away. Maybe this? If everyone could just chill for a moment and leave those alone, that'd be lovely. Getting a little bit low on magic here, so I do want to be cautious of that. That war gargoyle, I want at least enough to irradiate. Oh, and no, even this troll alone with that might is a little bit much for us. Hey, you have 2 pips of armor class. You're not going to get touched by Tin of Tremor Stones. You actually, that's not nearly as good as I expected. How about that? Let's throw one out and see how she does. How did that do? Did we kill one thing at least? Kill the deep troll? Okay, so that's something. Could start potion petitioning now, but I almost want to kill this troll before we do, especially while they're distracted like this. So I'm going to Tin of Tremor Stones again. Nope, that did not do the trick. Let's just throw out 1 potion petition real quick here just in case. Heal Wounds, Curing, and Berserk Rage. Not the spells or the effects that I was hoping for. The other cheap one includes Lignifications. That's not great. For 960 gold, Resistance, Might, Haste, and Visibility. Now that break the banks a little bit more than I was comfortable with here. Could use Berserk Rage just for the deep troll. No, there's I believe there are still enemies alive around the corner specifically. And why am I blanking on, what was I saving Irradiate for? We'll see them in a second here if they're still alive. If they died already, then that's just lovely. And I'd be glad to have made the mistake. But we'll see in just a moment here. So I'm gonna actually go Berserk and use it to gain some distance here. Ah, the War Gargoyle. That's who I was thinking about. There we go. And there we go. Now that they're both next to us, we can just get them with 1 Irradiate. So yeah, that's what I was worried about. The metal splinters. And definitely needed to be able to take them out with Irradiate. Otherwise, we're not getting close to chunking through that armor class. But there we go. Not too bad. And even if it wasn't necessary to take that route or to go with the potion petition, there's always more money in the dungeon here, so we should be fine in the long run. Scimitar as a stat stick, switching out our current resistances for 2 negativity. And in +3 is probably not quite enough. If that intelligence score was higher, then it'd at least become a good target for, yeah, swapping to. Using this axe just as a resistance stick and using that scimitar as like a spellcasting stick. But as is, it's unfortunately not quite everything we hoped and dreamed for. Fortunately, we're in a nice wide open space for fighting these buddies, so they're going to break apart at pretty much every given opportunity. Not that we gave them much recourse to actually to group up, so that works for me. Ooh, yeah, and these trolls are surprisingly effective. I'm so used to them just being pure popcorn by this stage in the game. Nope. You know what? I'm okay today, actually. Let's just leave that that room alone for the moment. That's fine by me. Not too bad with Irradiate and them being right next to us, but even just catching a couple of crystal spears is a bit too much for me at the moment. So let's just avoid it instead. Kick our problems down the road. An ignition is at 21% in our armor, so in statue form, there we go. It's probably pretty much fully castable, right? 11%. It's getting there. I guess we could swap to a Ring of Wizardry, give up like our cold resistance for that. It's not horrible. But we might as well just continue going on a little bit here and maybe getting experience the old-fashioned way. And there's a Wizlab. Is that worth magic mapping? No, I think we'll just see if we happen to stumble into it. Maybe we'll try it out. Wizlabs always terrify me because I don't have the greatest understanding of what all can show up there. So usually I don't mind just skipping by them and not worrying too much about it. But we'll have to see. If we can poke our head in and at least see which one it is, if it's the maze one again or mutation one, we probably will not be happy with trying out. So that one will be a no-go for us. Kill that troll real quick before we continue running away. Bravely, of course. Everyone knows that cowardice is the better part of discretion, discretion is the better part of courage, so we will couragely, or bravely, run away. You know what? We can probably actually take care of what's left here with a couple of irradiates, just make sure we're in statue form. And do the dirty work. Nice and quick here. Not even getting marked in the process is lovely. Better than what we've come to expect as of late. Another sentinel come in though, so hopefully we didn't speak too soon. Ah, never mind, we're good to go. Is there still something invisible here? No? Maybe not? Okay, I'll take it. Well, let's just get back to moving on here. Nothing but sentinels, hey? Definitely close the door here. You two could... Wait, no, please come out. Oh my gosh, of course. Or just mark me, that's the same thing, right? That's also what I was asking for. Could you please all just like walk in here real quick? I want to take care of all my problems in life in one fell swoop, if possible. It's asking a bit much, but I feel like we can pull it off. And how much attention do I think has been called to the stairs? Again, big thanks to Mark for that. Too much? Oh, another Mark. How about that? Less than ideal, shall we say. At the very least, no Vault Wardens, so we're actually doing okay here still. Now, it's a little bit of a crawl at this stage in the game here, where we're just trying to gain up some extra experience, put ourselves in a slightly better position for moving forward in the future. But unfortunately, it is a necessary evil, especially after how some Deep Elf run, definitely not mine, ended a couple weeks ago. Maybe overcorrecting too much, but I'd rather that than find ourselves in a sticky situation once more here. Let me get through before the Vault Warden closes, please. Perfect. And again. And one more time. Shouldn't be anything in this hallway. I guess it was possible, so maybe could have been slightly more cautious, but we're all good. And then you're in a nice spot to just immediately get blasted. And actually die to just an axe swing. How about that? It's not very often we see that on our buddy Kelbrimbor here, but I'll take it. And we'll keep her going. Once we're up to, yeah, again, like 6,000, 7,000 gold, we could actually potentially think about going back for those boots. They are ridiculously expensive, don't get me wrong, but would be quite nice. Okay, I currently have my resistance to cold ring on. That's good, but this is still less than ideal, shall we say. What else should I do to you? We could try Mephitic Cloud. It's not likely to confuse, but it's something while we wait for our levels of contamination to maybe come down a bit. You're susceptible to fire, are you? You are not. Just resistant the other way. That's too bad. You do hate to see it. So let's try it out. We'll at least drop one Mephitic Cloud. It's not too expensive and does some work for us. And in fact, could do this and light it all on fire. That's something. Also, apparently the Frost Giant did get confused eventually. How about that? Time for another Irradiate, and let's just finish you off with a Fireball, shall we? There is a wizard around somewhere. Okay, if you want to Fireball yourself, that I guess is your prerogative. Who am I to say no to that? And perfect. Slightly scary situation for sure, but nothing we can't handle. Should definitely be in statue form before moving on to any other encounter though. Yeah, geez, these trolls pack a bit of a wallop. I always expect to be able to handle them by this stage. Yet here we are. I guess it's all relative when we immediately cast Irradiate and completely obliterate two different trolls next to us. So maybe they are handleable. Just need to be cautious not to take too much damage. And there we go. Finally some rest and respite here. Get that much needed R&R before hopping back in to the breach once more. We're continuing to crank up nicely here. Oh, you know what? Let's just close that door while we try this once more. There we go. And in statue form, ignition is down to 7%, so I think we're pretty much at the desired spot here. Let's try one more, then maybe fight them a little bit one-on-one. Not quite. Always forget how slow we are. Downsides of being a statue, of course. Very much worth it, though. Let's not mince words here. Any day of the week, I'd take that trade. But we will, at the very least, finish this vaults floor before we move on to a new area. But we definitely got what we came for the most part. Do you know what? Single Curari Dart. Fly straight, fly true. And kill this stupid boulder, if possible. Perfect. Oh, no, we miscast Irradiate. That's not great. Oh, the swings, the roller coaster of emotions. Oh, DCSS. How you keep us hooked here. Downsides also include pigeon attraction, and we all know where that leads, unfortunately. I mean, truly, it's just a mess of a situation all in all. Very important thing to keep in mind for sure. We all watched Hunchback to Notre Dame as children, or if you didn't, there's definitely some good references to that. Let's bring you over here, friend. Radiation. Again, MVP all the way down. Absolutely love to see it. And just one more time. Perfect. Oh, and you are called a Peacekeeper. What did I think I miscalled them Sentinels when I was talking about them earlier when we were briefly discussing barb effects? Peacekeeper. This is one I'm going to forget again. Pretty much any of the new monsters that were introduced like later than 0.25. I never have great odds of actually remembering their name correctly. It's a bit of a very weighted coin flip, and not weighted in a good way. You were -5 when that movie came out? That's fair enough. Have you watched it since? I feel like with a lot of the Disney movies... Actually, that's interesting, because when I was growing up as a kid, I feel like all the Disney movies, like the entire collection, was determined, or it was called out to be like required viewing. But is that still true anymore? Like, do kids these days even bother watching Snow White? After going through your Frozens, your Moanas, your Encantos, I think you would be deathly bored of watching Snow White. And plus, of course, like problematic messaging also kind of sprinkled in there, like a lot of things from that era. So that makes sense if it wasn't quite as proliferate, right? And especially, it's funny because I said with Hunchback of Notre Dame that was something we've all seen, but I think even when it was like a current Disney movie, it still was one of the less popular ones. Because it definitely has some very serious themes, and it can be a frightening movie for a child, to say the least. That ranks up there in terms of most brutal, like, villain deaths in old cartoons. So yeah, maybe I should have thought a little bit more about it before making such bold and sweeping claims, because that does make a lot of sense. But okie dokie. I think we're done with our little dip into vaults for the moment here. I'm very tempted to head into Elf, maybe just see what other little bits of treasure we can find. I wouldn't mind an artifact necklace and or a ring, potentially even a better weapon. Could be nice. Magical helmet. I mean, I don't want to ask for too much here, but would be nice game. Wink wink, nudge nudge. So, with that in mind, let's start heading towards Elf, shall we? See if we can't engage in a little bit of specieside. Would that be a word, do you think? Should a Conjuration's Tengu go for fridge or ignition? Ooh. Anything with any specific deity you're following? Also, I can get back to that in just a second, Starplane, because I definitely want to say a huge hello, yeah, to all the raiders coming in, and Potato if you're here. I can always give another hello if you're still loading in, of course, but hey, Brent, always lovely to see you. Thanks for joining in on the raid. And yeah, hello, raiders. I hope you're all having a fantastic Sunday. You probably are. You were just watching some Potato. That sounds like a pretty lovely way to spend your afternoon here, or your evening as it were. But yeah, welcome all. Lovely to see you. Thanks for dropping on by. As for our side of things, if you haven't watched any of One Sweet Potato, that's not how that goes. But if you haven't watched any of their content, I highly recommend doing so. Always a lot of really fun Kaiser runs going on. Whatever latest hotness you got going, Sweet Potato. What were you playing today? Definitely let us know. But yeah, definitely highly recommend checking out their content and heading over that way. Always a good time. Nice and chill, as well as being a hilarious person. Petitos, petite potato. Potito, exactly, yeah. Oh, just throwing a little bit of Spanish flair in there, you know? Completely intentional, like we do here. But yeah, hello. How's your Sunday going, Potato? Always lovely to have you around. I hope it's been fantastic. And yeah, what are you playing at the moment? Definitely let the people know what you have going on. And as for anyone who's coming in who maybe hasn't seen this game before, we're currently playing some Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. This is a very kind of old school classic roguelike. So it's, you know, turn-based, very hard emphasis on mechanics as well as, you know, difficulty. It's an extremely hard game, especially when you first dive into it. There's just so much going on, so many systems overlapping, but all betrayed or hidden by the very simple looking interface that we have going on. I highly recommend trying the game out if you've never given any of these a shot before, or especially if you are a roguelike fan. Really easy to hop into, and it's completely free. So that's always the best price tag to have on a video game. You played Cornucopia of Kaizo. It was a lot of fun. Oh, awesome. Creator of the hack was in chat. Oh, that's super fun. And also an all boss clear in Gungeon. Ooh, speaking of roguelikes. Nice. I'm glad you're still playing some Gungeon. I know I was in your stream the other day for that of Bit Potato, and it was a lot of fun. But yeah, the Kaizo stuff is often what we see you playing, and I find Kaizo just absolutely hypnotizing. Just watching endlessly, hoping for that PB. Any run could be the run. Always a good time. And that's one buff potato. Holy moly, save it. That's exactly what I think of when I think of our one sweet potato here. Sweet, but also very tough, very strong boy. But nice, yeah, I hope the stream went well. I'm glad you had a lot of fun for sure. It was a lot of fun when the creator's there too, and you can get some of that appreciation. I'm sure it's fun to watch people play through your hacks as well. Was it one of the more difficult ones, or a bit more on the straightforward side? And let's hop back into Elf. We were also quickly answering a question for Star Polemic here. So on a Conjurations-based Tengu character, Fridge or Ignition, I generally lean towards Ignition. I mean, Fridge is easier to get online, which is kind of nice for sure. And as long as you feel comfortable handling the inability to drink potions after casting it, it's a really good spell. If you're less comfortable with that, then I lean towards the Ignition side. It's pretty much like stupid proof for the most part. Just hit the button, watch it go blammo. Pretty awesome. But some other kind of little things are thrown in there. If you're worshipping Go's Egg, Ozakubi's Refrigeration gets so much more powerful because you can still potion petition. That doesn't count as drinking, so that works out as well. So definitely a few different factors. Let me know if that helps at all, or if you have any more clarifying little bits and pieces. We can try and build up a bit more of a cohesive strategy for that kind of thing. It was more of a beginner-friendly hack, but has some good challenging setups. Oh, awesome. No, that's always a lot of fun then, for sure. And of course, yeah, it's always going to be some challenging setups, to say the least, for Kaizo. I mean, again, especially for someone like me who is not at all experienced in Kaizo, it's just mind-numbing every time to watch someone go through. I had a hard enough time beating just the standard, like Super Mario World back in the day. That was a classic one because it was one of the few games that was on at my grandparents' house. They had a really like crappy old computer upstairs, just kind of tucked away. And for whatever reason, I think my older brother might have secretly installed a Mario hack on it, but I used to play that all the time and have a lot of fun, but boy was I bad. Just absolute garbage. I'm curious going back now if I'd be any better. I at least have more controller experience, because for the longest time I was just a PC boy. Never really experienced, my family didn't really pick up consoles at all, but nowadays I definitely have a lot more experience, even using controllers on my PC a heck of a lot more, as long as I don't have to aim and shoot. If I'm aiming and shooting, it's got to be the mouse for me. It's the only way that I'm even semi-functional, unfortunately. But one day I'll go back and try out some of those challenging things. I'm really wanting to try Kaizo sometime, because I think it'd be a lot of fun to even just do a stream of trying to learn the most basic of like shell jumps and whatnot. Could be a good time. Hopefully not too frustrating for all the viewers involved. You think you'll go fire despite liking Ozus more, since you have mid-game fire spells but not ice? That also definitely plays a role too. Yeah, if you don't have to put that experience to waste in the short term, makes sense. This gives you an excuse to learn Fireball for shoals. Well, hey, yeah, you've got it all figured out. That's awesome. You also cannot do first-person shooters on controller. Yeah, even with aim assist, I feel like I do better with a mouse and a keyboard. It's complete opposite. Like, my wife is so much better on a controller, and she can handle anything just fine. So I always have to, like, reconfigure that in my head when we're, like, starting a new game, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, you gotta use keyboard and mouse. It's the only way. But not always, I guess. Not for other people. I'm just absolute trash, so there is that to keep in mind. There are a few hacks that are very vanilla based, no shell jumps, just nice straightforward platforming, and yeah, so they just crank up like the challenge a bit or have some kind of creative spin, I'm guessing, since I guess you didn't even mention yeah, the difficulty, so they could just be fun ones. And definitely recommend of jumps or of jumping platforms as a way to get back into Super Mario World. So much fun. Nice. I'll definitely have to take that one down. Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna write that down right now here, just so that every time I see the little note, I can also just get reminded that I do have an interest in returning to the genre at some point. Even just, I've always been really tempted to get Super Mario Maker for Switch, because that, watching people play that, it seems so fun. And I guess I have played a little bit on my sister-in-law's Switch before, because she played some of it, but co-op is a completely different beast. I was mostly just trolling everyone and completely ruining their experience by trying to constantly sprint ahead and say, I'm winning. And absolute nightmare for both my wife and her sister, but it was a good time. Of Jumps Platforms is a marathon run, short one, but no save points in between, just saying. Ooh, okay. But I feel like, yeah, I could definitely use it as a good source of experience, just because it will force me to redo even some of the simpler jumps that I just luck by and pass first try, no problem. But good to know for sure. So let's see, I made a mistake before walking down to Elf. I should learn Ignition before heading down. So I need 5 spell levels. What can I forget? Oh, I hate to say it, but it might have to be Manifold Assault. I love you, spell, but honestly was such a waste to even go that direction. So unfortunately, we must say goodbye, say adieu for now, but maybe you'll be back. Maybe when we can actually swing a blade a little bit, you know? And let's instead learn some remix to Ignition, hot and fresh out the kitchen. Mama rollin' that body, got every man in here wishing. Which always has to come with the requisite, I wish that song was remixed by someone else. Oh, I gotta hate it when it's a banger. Separate art from artist is all I gotta say about that, as much as possible. Mario Maker is so hard for you, the physics feel so different, 100%. Yeah, that's interesting for sure. Especially since, is there at all like an appreciable difference between the different settings, I guess? I don't know what the best nomenclature is for it, but you know how you can have like 2D or 3D Mario within Mario Maker? They all, I feel like they would feel kind of different. Or did they kind of bring it all to a middle plane and just slap the same kind of physics engine behind the entire thing? But yeah, definitely interested to know, and take it from you, the pro, for sure, to know your stuff. I also should have said a while back now, I was having too much fun, but Kuzi Sean, thanks so much for the follow. I'm assuming you came in on the raid. Thanks for staying along with the attack here, and for joining and for following as well, going above and beyond, pulling out all the stops. I appreciate it. But definitely, any raiders, if you have any questions about this game, if you have any interest whatsoever, let me know. I'm always happy to try and explain things, especially since I know that we can sometimes get a little bit too absorbed in our own kind of understanding of these complicated games. But I'm always very much happy to break it down into the nitty and gritty, especially since I absolutely adore new players joining the community, because it is such a fantastic community that plays this game, and the more the merrier for sure at the end of the day. Okie dokie, we'll just keep hitting the statue form, clearing our way through the elf section here. It's funny, every time that I give a little like brief blurb description of this game when new people come in, I feel like I never have done an accurate job. There's always something that I miss, because this time around I didn't even talk about what like the goal of the game was, which, if you're wondering, it's to delve through these dungeons, mostly just trying to survive for the early game, but eventually making your way through the various different regions, picking up at least 3 magical runes that you can find throughout, up to 15 if you're going for the full kit and caboodle. And then once you've got those, you want to take them down to the very bottom of the dungeon, head into the realm of Zot, grab the orb of aforementioned Zot, and hightail it the heck out of there with all the denizens of the dark, the demons, and the lords of pandemonium on your tail. It's definitely a highlight for me. I've been coming back to this game over and over again over 12 years. It has a very active development cycle. Once or actually I would say even like twice or 3 times. Once or twice a year. Just keep changing that sentence mid-run. They update the game completely, usually adding on whole new mechanics, tweaking things here and there, really keeps it fresh and interesting for sure. And partially, or probably, is a huge part of the reason of why I just keep coming back over the years, because it does feel fresh and interesting almost every time, and it helps that I've gone over the initial hump of kind of learning some of the mechanics. And it's just a piece of cake to at least get back into it. Whether I actually survive whatsoever, probably a different question, but that's a-okay. We do our best. And hopefully today we can see ourselves come into a victory before the end of things. Would be lovely. We've been stuck on this one for a while. You walk away for 5 minutes and now we're just a filthy Ignite spammer. Oh my, how could I not? How could I resist? Is there any other way to play this game? I'm confused. I thought we just ignite the world, ignite the night, and let it shine. Going all the way from R. Kelly to Katy Perry today, apparently. It's just that kind of an evening. In general, the number of song references that my brain has been jumping to these days is out of control, which I think is a good thing. I very much enjoy when my brain short circuits and all I can think of are song lyrics. I apologize if anyone out there feels differently, but unfortunately, you're along for the ride, and this is your captain speaking, and it's gonna be that kind of a day. Okie dokie, we'll continue walking through Elf here. Not too many problems. We have all the resistances that we desperately need, at least at a base level here, so I'm hoping that we'll just be okay to breeze through. The less I have to talk about the game, generally the better we're doing, so that's always nice. Of course, yeah, if anyone has anything they would like to talk about, always happy to try my best to fumble my way through semi-coherent thought trains, and then also translate those into speech, which I mean, probably have like a 50% shot at. Sometimes the old chatterbox goes off the rails for sure. What was it like growing up as a kid on the prairies? I appreciate David for jumping into my rescue here with some good topics. So yeah, I've lived in the prairies since 2003 is when I moved here. So it was a bit later on. I was 8 at the time, but definitely spent the majority of those kind of, I was gonna say more formative years, but I don't actually know. Off the top of my head, I feel like your toddler years are probably more formative at the end of the day. But regardless, yeah, we definitely I grew up, spent a decent amount of time here. Again, trying to string coherent thoughts, apparently not going well for me today, just making a real great effort of it. But it was really great. I don't love the city that I live in, Calgary in general, and I definitely don't exactly fall under the majority political structure of the province here. But it was a pretty fantastic place to be a teenager, I think. It has the nice part of being a bigger city, having a lot of the amenities, while also having a lot of suburbs. Like, the downside is that you have to drive everywhere. It's almost inexcusable how terrible our public transportation is here. But besides that, it was nice to, have a big yard. We always had dogs growing up, so that was huge to be able to go out and play with them. My family's also very handy in a lot of ways. So it's a lot of, you know, building decks, building tree houses. We had a giant shed in our backyard that had a 2-story tree house built into it on the side, and one entire wall was a climbing wall where we just bought a lot of handholds and bolted them on, and so that was a lot of fun. I've always been a big climber, and so I was definitely spoiled in that regard growing up. But before that, I actually lived overseas in Indonesia from 97 until 2003, so when I was 3 years old until I was 8. And I feel like that was always an experience that I'm so grateful to have had, because I absolutely love the culture and getting to experience, you know, places that are so different from what we see here. And plus, I'm a sucker for some warm weather. Oh my gosh. I'm the exact opposite of my wife and her parents in that regard, where they would always rather be cold than hot, but please, just like lay it on me. If I'm sweating constantly, that's a good day. I feel good about that. In Railbird, it's a somber day. Today, you laid to rest another 27th level human fire elementalist with 4 runes, pass away in Zot 5. Oof. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear it, friend. May the next one gain vengeance for their fallen comrades. Your condolences. May Sifmuna guide them to a gentle slumber. What a lovely sentiment. Eggly. Appreciate it. I hope Railbird does too. But that's all good. Mission failed. You'll get them next time. That's the thing. When you're as experienced in the Fire Elementalist game as you are Railbird, I feel like you're much more consistent than I am in getting your characters up until that point. So I hope that it goes well the next run around. Always hurts though. I mean, I wouldn't know what that's like because I've never lost a run, and I am a complete god gamer, of course. Absolutely cracked in the dungeon here. But if I were someone to, you know, hypothetically lose a deep elf in Zot, then I would know exactly how you feel. Purely hypothetical, of course. Okay. Ignition spam did not do the trick. Let's just hightail it out of there for a brief moment. Oh, I thought we just failed statue form twice in a row there, and I was going to complain to the manager, but never mind. We're all good. Fantastic. Can hold off on those complaints, at least for the moment here. Force Lance is absolutely brutal. There we go. Jeez Louise, these elves pack a bit of a wall up, do they not? I mean, I should know what to expect, seeing as how we're pretty much in the same boat on our side. They're probably saying a similar thing about our little glass cannon buddy that's absolutely blazing their way through here. But it's different when it happens to me. I'm the protagonist, which means I get everything going my way, and any small hiccup along the road is just completely unacceptable, honestly. Ooh, and it's the ranged Hall of Blades entrance. How about that? Though my magically enchanted friends, goodbye as well. I'm also suddenly reminiscent of another old feature in the game that I'd actually completely forgotten about until now. Back in the day, you used to be able to find secret doors. So it was always like running into every corner, every nook and cranny, and just waiting out like 200 turns. It was like the traps. Oh, well, there was a skill for it, because it also let you find random traps that used to be around, just like lying on the floor throughout the game. Traps and doors, maybe?